Yeah, he meets all the coaches.
Dallas.
You see Jack?
That's what I thought. You guys know what building you're gonna be in?
Yeah,
Good.
hey, cool.
Hey, make sure we say it.
How you doing? We're good.
Matt, we're on video, right?
Absolutely. Tonight, just want to remind everyone before we get started, we are on video. You don't see the camera guys in here, but the machines at the back, they actually are capable of speaking. So everyone can make sure your mic's on and just speak up.
Welcome, everybody, to the Penn Trafford School District's business meeting for Monday, August 20, 2018. Appreciate you coming out. I'm going to start the meeting with Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have roll call, please?
You better watch how more. I can read tonight.
Yes, Mrs. Ising? Here. Mr. Kachasik?
Here.
Dr. Koshko?
Here.
Mr. Bill Leonard?
It's you. Here.
Mr. Dallas Leonard?
Here.
Mr. Matarazzo is not with us. Mr. Nemec?
Here.
Mr. Petrucci?
Here.
Mr. Stobar?
Here.
Thank you. Have a motion to approve the minutes of the June 11th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Question.
Question being called for, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Information, Dr. Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Katasik. It's going to be an exciting week. The first day of school is this Thursday, so we have everything pretty much prepared. Last minute changes, the last couple of days in service. Today was our kickoff in service, and we focused on our board goals. We focused on some different information we received from Mr. Carazia from the homeless, the changes of the laws, different grant opportunities. But it was an excellent day, and it was a good beginning. So we are excited for the school year and for all the kids to come. So not too many phone calls from the bus postcards we sent out, and we also sent out the prospectus, and I think it's going to be sent out later this month in the paper, which we always count on, so I appreciate that. So, but tonight I do have a visitor who's going to actually be our presentation, and it's Mr. Joe Gatus.
I have to tell you, we have hired and trained. They've all been trained to go into the schools and work inside our school. So I'm going to let each one come up to the podium, introduce themselves, and give you a little bio about where they're coming from and what they do.
A quick question for you, Joe. Can you explain to me that training, what you're talking about? What training exists right now that you're applying to these guys?
Phil, just to interrupt, Phil, you missed it last week. He actually gave us a handout that had the complete manual that they trained to.
My apologies,
So-
proceed.
You could probably
Thank you,
get
Marty.
that, but it's very extensive.
Yeah,
That's what it is. It's all
Yeah, that's
the
We-
different laws and what they do in the school and what you can do with kids and what you can't do.
Okay, well, my apologies.
Okay, that's fine, no problem. So we'll start with Tom. He's gonna be at Sunrise, Tom West. I'm sorry, Level Green.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not much of a speaker, I'm gonna try to keep it short. My name is Tom West, I'm 59 years old, I'm from McKeesport. This past December, I retired from the city of McKeesport Police Department as a police officer after 24 years of service. The first 4 years were part-time service, the last 20 years were of a full-time officer. Prior to that, I worked 6 years as a part-time police officer for different communities such as Salisbury, Elizabethboro. I worked a total of 30 years as a police officer. I look forward to working with the staff and students of Penn Trafford. I will be working at the Level Green Elementary School. And that's me.
Have you met the principal yet?
No, sir, I'm going tomorrow morning. Joe told me that I guess they're having some sort of, the teachers and everybody will be there.
Each school is doing their in-service tomorrow, so they're going to go to each school tomorrow and meet the principal and the staff.
And why do you want to do this job?
Like I said, I'm retired, just something else to do, get tired of sitting around the house, and I think it's a job that I'm qualified for, and that I feel that I can do.
And you're a protector.
I'm put it to you this way, if anything would ever happen to one of the students or the staff there, it would only be because I could not fulfill my duty as the officer. Nothing will happen to them as long as I'm there, as far as I'm concerned. As the saying goes, I'll take the bullet first.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
McKeesport School District's had their own police force for quite a while now, I believe, correct?
They have an officer from the department assigned to the school.
Oh, is that how that goes?
Yes, sir. He's a school resource officer. He's actually a McKeesport City police officer. He's assigned to the school.
Oh, for ball games, I've seen him there.
Well, I mean, the police officers are the ones who work the school for like an overtime detail. They work the, I guess you want to call it security for the school, but the police officers are the ones who do that. Yes, sir.
They had their, well, the reason I said that, because they had their police officer, uniforms on. And
yes, sir.
I assumed that. Have you done that kind of work before? Have you worked with them?
At the football games and that?
Yes.
Oh, many years. Yes, sir.
Okay, you've covered that.
Yes, sir.
All right, so if we needed you here for big games, so you're available.
That'd be up to Mr. Gatus.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we know the flexibility involved, all right?
Yeah, that'd be up to Mr. Gatus to.
Okay, so let's work with something like that. Okay, just thank you. I just wanted to be aware, because I know McKeesport, they have ball games there. They're well manned.
Yes, sir.
Everything's under control.
Yes, sir. We tried.
I think they have dogs too, am I correct?
Yes, sir. We have 5 I'll still say we.
Township has dogs, has one dog.
They have 5 canine officers.
Okay, and that's vital. That sends a big message.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Good evening, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Eric Goss. I'll be at McCullough Elementary School. 24 years of military service, combat veteran, Bronze Star, sniper, and safety officer. Also, I picked up a degree with the University of Alabama, equivalent to a master's degree in safety. I have graduated from Clarion University, graduated back in 1988, graduated with a degree in, wow, what the heck was my degree in? Hey, that was 88, and that was a while ago. What was that?
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Ingles and myself were both Clarion graduates, too.
Oh, thank you. All right, that's awesome. Golden Eagles. I'm currently a major in the United States Army Reserves. Again, 24 years service, active duty as well as reserves, and I'm going into pre-retirement as of right now. And I look forward to serving the school, the children, and the staff at the schools.
Would you like to address your other duties?
I also conduct military funeral honors for the United States Army. My team and I, on an average, bury between 1,600 to 1,800 of our veterans every year in the 6 counties of southwestern Pennsylvania. And I've been doing that for 10 years.
Well, thank you for your service.
It's an honor. Thank you.
Why do you want this job?
I am a protector, born and bred and raised. It is in my blood. That's all I know. And I believe in keeping the kids safe. They're innocent, as well as the staff at the school. That is my primary objective, and that is my goal.
Welcome aboard.
It's an honor. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Welcome aboard, sir.
Thank you.
Evening, everyone. My name's Robert Frank. I use my middle name, Wesley. They can call me Wes. I'm from West Mifflin, and like Eric, I do the military funeral honors as well with him. I've been on the team for about 8 years. I've got 30 years of military experience, actually going into my 30th year right now between active duty Army Reserve. I've got 4 combat tours. I've got 2 Bronze Stars. I've got a bio in there as well. So I feel that protecting is in my blood. One of the reasons why I came on board is trying to transition out of the Army life into civilian life. And I feel that providing a safe environment for students to learn is key to success in the environment that we live in today. So I appreciate the opportunity that you folks are giving me.
Excuse me, what building did you, I'm sorry.
Oh, Sunrise, I'm sorry, I left that out. Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
I'm currently still in the Army Reserve. I am a Command Sergeant Major. I have a reserve unit down in Knoxville, Tennessee. And every month I've got to go down there and do some training, so.
Every month?
Every month. I've been doing it for the last 2 years, so long story short, when you become a Command Sergeant Major and it's your initial tour as a Command Sergeant Major, you're obligated to do 36 months. And you can't retire, you can't, drop your retirement paperwork, as we say in the Army, because you've made it's a verbal contract with the Army. Even though you sign a contract, there's a verbal agreement that you're not going to leave. And so I'm in my last year of that. So I'm at a crossroads. I'm either going to retire as a Command Sergeant Major, or I'm going to possibly move on to another position. So.
Would that interfere with your time at Sunrise?
No. Joe and I have discussed my military obligations, and if the times that I'm not there, there will be a backfill. So currently, right now, I plan on leaving Friday night, driving down to Knoxville, and I'll come back late Sunday morning. And that's typically what I've done for the last 2 years. So, yeah. Yeah, it's an 8-hour drive. It's not horrible. Like I said, I've done it for the last 2 years. So,
Knoxville's a nice part of the world.
It's a really nice area. And if you're a UT fan, I mean, they love their football down there. They're not much into their professional sports team because it's on the other side of the state. And so they're hoping that they're going to have a good football year with the new coach that they hired. So we'll see what happens.
I worked for Alcoa for 18 years. Did a lot of traveling to Knoxville.
Yeah, I actually there was a time when I was trying to convince my wife to move down there because the first year I just loved it. But
it wasn't Coach Fulmer come back to be AD now, right, or something like that? How's that go?
What's that?
Coach Fulmer came back. The ex-coach Fulmer came back and took the AD job to.
I think so. Yeah.
Hired a new coach.
Yeah.
And they're high expectations, and the Coon Dog's ready to start doing some howling. And
yeah, they're going to be paying the former coach for 10 years.
Yes, they are. Yeah,
they owe him a lot of money. So.
Yeah, he got a big smile on his face.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
Johnny Majors was from UT.
UT.
Johnny Majors is from there.
Yeah.
They're very critical. I mean, most people are very critical.
For Heisman Trophy winner, he played University of Tennessee. Lost out to Paul Horney.
I do have a bachelor's degree from Indiana University of Pennsylvania. I believe I left that out. I've got some other courses as well. So.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the school board. My name is Daniel Ruggiero. I'll be stationed down there at the Harrison Park School. I've been in security armed security for 5 years. Altogether, I have almost 10 years in security. I was a housing officer for the city of Pittsburgh for those last 5 years. Been a volunteer fireman for 12. So I wanted to get this job because I consider myself a protector of life and property from both my volunteer job and my security job, and it's something I always wanted to do. I'm living out in North Irwin area, so I'm close by if anything's needed, like for games or any kind of special events, providing he clears it, I'll be around if needed. Pittsburgh Housing Authority, Homewood North, Northview Heights. It's now Skyline Terrace. A lot of people might know it as Elmore Square, and Garfield Commons.
You carry a weapon during those 5 years?
Yes, sir, I did.
So out of the 10 years that you were an armed security guard.
5 years armed security, sir.
So it was 5 years out of the 10 that you actually carried the weapon, and that was for the city of Pittsburgh?
Yes.
Thank you.
Were you trained through the city of Pittsburgh?
Yes, I did. They had me working in the rough neighborhoods there, so. Oh, yeah.
You have to wear body armor for that job?
Yes, I did. Yeah, it was mandatory. Yes.
Welcome aboard, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
How's everybody doing? My name is Dwayne St. Antoine. I'm actually from Indiana County. I was trained by the Department of Corrections. I did 8 years in the Indiana County Jail. I'm trained in IPC, CPR, AED, first aid, also trained in PREA. I'm a mandatory reporter for child abuse. I've had CPI training, basically anything that deals with corrections. I worked 4 years at Homer City High School, actually doing armed security for them. I did 1 year armed security for Salzburg. And let me see, I did 3 years beer festivals, and I've also done 2 years at for a marathon called Standing Stone. Also with that, I also assist the Indiana County Police in IU Patty's Day. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that, but it's a big thing in Indiana. A lot of arrests and drugs. But I assist in that. I also secured Lieutenant Governor Mike Stack. He came to Homer City to do a seminar. We actually acted as his bodyguard there. And currently I'm on 3 years at Chestnut Ridge right now. I do all their weddings and all their sororities. And I'll be at Penn Middle.
Somebody said this.
Indiana County, on Hood School Road.
You stated you had some armed security time. How many years of armed security?
Total armed security? Probably about 8.
I was going to ask, do you guys have the same weapons, or do you have a weapon of choice, or they have their own choice?
They have to use the weapons that they're certified with. That's the only weapons they're allowed to carry. Whatever they were certified in, that's a law.
So these are all recent certifications, or they're under this ongoing certification?
That's, I think his might be the oldest.
Yeah.
But we'll have a record of what they have, and they also have. So we'll know what kind of gun that they have. And in them SOPs that we wrote, it's in there, you can pull when you can't. All that's completely finished for the school.
So when one of these gentlemen's off, do you have a staple?
We will have a replacement. The guy that he was going to come tonight that we have, that's going to be a replacement, but he already had prior, but you'll meet him at the next meeting.
That was my first. And the second question is are they all going to wear the same standard uniform?
Yes, they're all going to wear polo shirts with a badge. Safety resource officer on it.
Right. And that'll be every day, they wear the same thing, correct?
Everybody's the same.
That's good.
And I assume it'll be lettered on the back?
No, there'll just be a badge on the front. Just on the front.
We were kind of. The resource officer, they're not going to come?
Tonight?
Well, I think we should have them come.
I've heard that before.
Trust
me. Yeah, I hear you.
Does it make sense to have security on the back of the
Hey, Joe, the backups in case they're out for illness or family issues or something like that, are they also going to be trained, experienced officers also, the people you have?
Yeah, they all have 235 cars.
You fill in for them when they cannot be there?
Yeah.
You personally?
Yeah. I'm always around.
We see Joe a lot. We do.
So basically, Joe, if somebody calls in the morning because they're sick, you'll be there. There won't be a building that does not have a guard in every day.
That's no vacancies.
This is a generic question. I ran into two security officers, whatever, I was coming in. Would they be substitutes?
No, they're strictly for
I understand.
outside work.
I understand.
Right. They have nothing to do with this.
In the building, you gentlemen know who you'll be reporting to, correct?
Principals.
Said they're gonna meet him tomorrow.
You arrive a half hour before time and leave half hour after time? How's your time frame on that,
They're
Joe?
gonna be at the elementary, they're gonna be 8:30 to 3:30. The buses start coming in at 8:30.
8:45.
Yeah, they'll be there at 8:30 and they'll be done at 3:30. And if we run into conflict, we might have to change, we're gonna see.
How about the middle schools and how about the high school?
Same with.
High school, you have an SRO
same with
officer.
the high school, as of right now, we have a resource officer. The middle school, I'm not sure. Jim?
Trafford Middle, we have an SRO at Trafford Middle as well.
Reference in Penn.
Oh, I'm
He's
sorry.
referencing Penn.
I thought you said Trafford.
You might have said this, which school are you assigned to?
And middle. Yep.
Matt, this is
If
just,
we run into a problem, we can change it, we can work it out.
we identified in the building where each one of their offices are gonna be at their location. Have you guys worked that out yet?
Yeah,
Working
we've
on
been
it.
working out that with the principals. But they have a station area, but we want them to be rotation visible.
And another question, the weapons will always be on you guys, they'll never be taken off, correct?
Very visible, correct?
Well, as visible as the principal ones. It's gonna be like, I would leave a little bit of discretion up to how they wanna use their,
No, I think it should be visible.
I wanna let them have a little decision on that part of it.
And you never know also, right now, it's, I suppose, a local decision. You don't know what the state's gonna come down with. They might come down with something else with weapons concealed, open carry. But you never know. Right now,
As of right now, there are no such restrictions.
Right.
You just simply have to be properly trained, licensed under the law. And if the officer is an employee of the district, they have to be approved by the court. If they're going to, and they have to be authorized by the court to have arrest authority or not, and to
do you know, just a question, I've been kind of following it a little bit. Do you know if, did they extend those authorities anymore that they were talking about to the security people with their authorities, what they can and can't do, their arrest authorities? That was under discussion too. I don't know if they've, state legislator worked on that.
That's not, my understanding is that that's not been changed. What the new laws provided for was to be able to contract with a third-party contractor for individuals that can provide this type of security. But you still have the ability, it did not negate the fact that you could have SROs or have your own school police. That would, again, be approved by the court. So my understanding is that you have the flexibility to decide how you want to approach security within the school. You can utilize all three methods, or however you want to do it. The only key is that you have to have that one individual who oversees the safety and security programs and everything within the district.
And clearly so state, that would be Mr. Gatos.
I'm sorry?
That's Mr. Gatos? Who oversees it?
No.
Okay, who oversees it?
I think, Bill, I think it's a discussion that we are gonna have to have further down the road. There's some things
Okay,
there that we still
that's
need to
key.
get in place.
Yeah, that's key. Okay. Anyway, thank you very much.
I just mentioned to Dr. Harris, Joe, you wouldn't have any issue with photographs being taken of these gentlemen and put on the website on the school district's website for the school, so the parents know what these gentlemen look like. Do you guys have any issue with that?
I think that's a good idea, that way the parents know
Yeah, that way they,
They're seeing and like, okay, he's a good guy, not an imposter.
yeah, so they might, yeah, I just think it's just more visibility.
The last thing, Joe, with regards to clearances, I would assume these guys all have their clearances? We need those on file, do we not, Matt?
What?
We would need those on
Yeah,
file.
we always get
different-
copies of everything. We do that with our bus company and our
We'll have a copy of the city, they'll get one, we'll have a copy
Aramark.
in the office right here, too.
But as of today, all those clearances are up to date. All you have to do is, yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, welcome.
Thank you.
I say you guys don't have to stay for the rest. It's nice to meet you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
hold on, gentlemen. Why don't you guys do a quick loop in here? And just so you guys can meet all the board members yourselves. Introduce yourself again. Just inside loop.
Inside?
We have our,
System down.
Nice to meet you, bro.
hi, nice to meet you.
Just got a daughter of West Point as a freshman, so I'm strong.
We know. Shake your hand,
That guy right there? He's done,
Yeah, I won't have any. I'll pass it back to you. And actually, that's all the information I had tonight. And I will, I know some of you asked to have the Trafford SRO officer at the next meeting, and I'll do that. So thank you.
My suggestion would be to include all the Trafford SRO and the high school SRO
Sure.
pictures. If we're doing to do these, gentlemen, you should have them all.
No, absolutely. That's a good idea.
All right, thank you, Dr. Harris. So recognition of visitors, there's nobody signed up. Treasurer's report, may I have a motion to approve the treasury report and the high school extracurricular fund report?
Motion.
Second.
Question being called for, this will be a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, and we move to payment of bills. We have a motion to approve the payment of bills for the month of August 2018.
Second.
Question being called for, this will be a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Gentlemen, any old business? No old business? We'll go, we did have a brief executive session prior to this evening's meeting. We discussed personnel matters, including assistant business administrator, contract negotiations, potential litigation. We also received information about Aramark partnership review and construction and repair updates going around district-wide. All right, new business, athletics and extracurricular. Dr. Costo.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do have a few items. Under Appendix B in your book, we have a move to employ the athletics and extracurricular personnel for the 2018-19 school year as presented to the board. Salaries will be determined in accordance with a negotiated agreement. New employment is contingent upon the receipt of all necessary documentation, acceptance of Act 34, 151, and 114 waivers from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania within 30 days.
Second.
Question.
Question being called for. This will be a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Move to approve the list of volunteer coaches as presented to the board. All coaching volunteers must have Act 34, 151, and 114 waivers on file with the athletic director.
Second.
Question being called for. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
That be all, Mr. President. Thank
Motion
you.
carried. Thank you, Dr. Costo. Budget and Finance, Mr. Stovar.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to approve the Penn Trafford School District's contributions to the area libraries for 2018-19 as follows. Penn Area Library, $3,584. Trafford Community Public Library, $1,536. And $1,024.
Second. Question.
Question being called for. This is a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Move to approve the CWCTC settlement agreement and release. A copy of the agreement will be filed with the official minutes of this meeting.
Question.
Question being called for, this is a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Stovall. Buildings and Ground Safety, Mr. Dallas Leonard.
Yes, sir, Mr. President, I do have a few items. First, I'd like to move to approve list of substitute custodians for 2018-19 school year. A copy of it, which will be filed with the official minutes of this meeting.
Second.
Question.
Question being called for. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I'd like to make a motion to approve following expenditures for change orders at the Penn Middle School exterior insulation system project at Broadway's Warrior Center. Replace the IFAS and dense glass in extra areas at a cost of $4,650. Direct apply over brick ground entrance at east elevation at a cost of $2,960. Repairs at east elevation area C at a cost of $5,930. And remove and replace the walkway ramp to the Warrior Center at a cost of $35,497.
Second.
Question.
Question being called for, this will be a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Make a motion to approve the school resource officer program agreement for 2018-2019.
Second.
Question.
Question being called for, this will be a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I'd like to move to approve the rate of $22.65 per hour for each of the 5 armed security guards from the public safety security.
Question.
Question.
Question being called for, you have a question? All right, Mr. Leonard?
Is that their hourly rate?
The gentlemen get paid 18 an hour, but then the company bills us $22.65 an hour to cover their 18 plus whatever they have to pay for taxes, and there was some markup too. You're welcome.
All right, question being called for, this will be a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Leonard. Employee Relations, Negotiation,
I'm sorry, I do have one question.
Dr. Costo?
Matt or Scott, for the contract with the officers, it's only for when kids are in school?
Correct.
So for example, if during vacation, break, whatever, we're only paying them for when they're
180 days.
Okay.
And I actually took off the Act 80 days too, so we're 176.
Okay, so just when they're actually
178,
in
I'm
the
sorry.
building. Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Employee Relations, Negotiation, Transportation, Ms. Sissing.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to approve the list of bus drivers and substitutes as presented by first student for the 2018-2019 school year. A copy will be filed with the official minutes of this meeting.
Second.
Question.
Question being called for, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
That's all, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Sissing. Food Service, Mr. Nemec.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to approve the list of cafeteria personnel for the 2018-19 school year as presented by Aramark Education. A copy will be filed with the official minutes of this meeting.
Second.
Question being called for, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Move to adopt the following resolution by the Board of School Directors for the 2018-19 school year with regard to the free and reduced lunch program. Be it resolved that the Penn Trafford School District agrees to participate in the National School Lunch Program and to receive commodities donated by USDA and accepts the responsibility for providing free and reduced price meals in accordance with the Pennsylvania Department of Education guidelines to eligible children in all schools under the district's jurisdiction. Penn Trafford High School will not participate in the National School Lunch Program during the 2018-19 school year.
Second.
Question.
All right, question being called for, it's a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I would also move to approve Turner Dairy as the milk supplier for the 2018-19 school year.
Second.
Question.
Question being called for, this will be a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Nemec. Personnel and Curriculum, Mr. Petrucci.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to approve the following administration designated official ratings for professional personnel, Penn Trafford School District for 2018-19 school year as listed. And please add Kerry Hetrick, our AD, because he evaluates all our coaching staff.
Second.
Question.
All right, question being called for. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Move to approve the teacher assignments for 2018-19 school year as recommended by administration. A copy of those assignments will be filed with the official minutes of this meeting. Administration is further authorized to notify teachers of their permanent assignments in accordance with the negotiated agreement.
Second. Question.
Question being called for. This will be a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Move to approve the following student handbooks in 2018-19 school year as presented to the board. A copy of each handbook will be filed with the official minutes of this meeting. The Penn Trafford High School, the Penn Trafford Middle School, and the Penn Trafford Elementary Schools.
Second.
Question being called for. This will be a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Move to list of substitute teachers and support personnel for 2018-19 school year. A copy will be filed with the official minutes of this meeting.
Second.
Question being called for. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Move to employ the following personnel, new employees contingent upon all receipt of all necessary documentation except Act 34, 151, 114 waivers, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania within 30 days. And please add Caitlin Pratt. As listed.
Second.
Caitlin Pratt would be actually for the E, for the student learning assistant at Harrison Park.
Question.
Question being called for. This will be a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Move to issue professional contracts to the following teachers in accordance with section 11058 of the school laws of Pennsylvania. These teachers have satisfactorily completed 3 years of teaching in the Penn Trafford School District. Caitlin Borden, Alexandria Christopher Ferretti, Tara Guerri, Christy Hartman, and Colleen Jones.
Second. Question.
Question being called for. This will be a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Quick interruption, all 5 outstanding. I'm very happy we hired them. I can't believe it's 3 years. I mean, it's real, I can't believe it because it just seems like yesterday.
Thank you, Dr. Harris.
Thank you.
Motion carried.
Move to approve the following leave requests as listed.
Question.
Baseball backstop.
Question being called for. This will be a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Move to the following retirement resignations, Kathleen Preziosi and Thomas Cheplick. Question.
Question being called for. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Move to accept the following resignations as listed.
Second.
Question.
Question being called for. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Move to approve the following textbook for 2018-19 school year, which are in a textbook budget according to the textbook cycle, as listed.
Second.
Question being called for. This is a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, we are going to temporarily postpone the number 11 until next meeting. I'm all concluded now.
Thank you, Mr. Petrucci. Well done. Well done. Policy, Public Relations, legislative, Title II. Dr. Costo.
I do have one item. Move to accept and file the minutes of the Superintendent's Information Committee meeting held on June 4th of 2018.
Second.
Question.
Question being called for. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Move to give final approval to the following board policy. A copy of this policy will become an official part of the minutes of this meeting. 827, conflict of interest.
Second.
Question.
Question being called for. This will be a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Move to tentatively...
Motion carried. Sorry, Dr. Costo. Go ahead. I was slagging behind.
Jumped again. Move to tentatively approve the following board policies and administrative regulations as listed.
Second.
Question.
Question being called for. This will be a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
One last item, move to rescind the following board policy, 810.1, drug/alcohol testing covered drivers.
Question being called for. This will be a roll call vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?